Hello and welcome to this week's edition of VR Vertigo. So, all the talk now is about the impending release of the Steam machine. We've had the controller, now it's time for the machine. And we've got all kinds of forensic investigative work being done about shipping, items being shipped from various companies associated with Valve and manufacture of the Steam machine. And frankly, I think it's all very ingenious, and I'm into it. I'm here for it, I have to say. We all love a bit of speculation, and with the release of the controller, it looks as though the machine is hot on its heels. And this brings me rather nicely to the Steam frame. What with all the talk of delivery cycles and eventual release dates, it looks as though this might be good news for the Steam frame. Will it actually release next month, June of 2026? Well, it's all speculation, of course. We have got no way of knowing. But there appears to be a fly in the ointment. There are reports coming out now that the Steam controller is no longer available, that the controller has already sold out, that scalpers have bought the large percentage of controllers and are now reselling them on various outlets at a major markup. What does this mean for the Steam machine? Are we going to face the same old again? The stories that we had with regards to the release of the PlayStation 5 were, frankly, a nightmare. And we could all do well without the same thing happening again to this new Steam console. And by extension, will the same thing happen to the Steam frame? Then my subject for the day almost doesn't matter, and that is what cost the Steam frame. And frankly, the Steam machine, because let's face it, nobody knows at this point. So when I first started this channel, or rather a few months in, we talked about the cost of the suite of kit that Valve was going to release in the form of the Steam controller, the Steam machine, and the Steam frame. And it was my view that, rather contentiously, it would come in at around $1,500 to $2,000, whatever currency you're using, $1,500 to $2,000 of that currency. And at the time, that was quite a high estimate, because the hardware apocalypse hadn't happened. But here we are, and things have changed, and prices are being revised. And as such, I think I shall revise also, but not too much. So in today's market, what would the Steam machine cost? It is, after all, not just a console. It's not just a PC. It's a bit of a chimera, a bit of both. Does that make it better or worse? Well, I think the prevailing theory would be that it makes it worse because it's not specializing. And yet, within this Compsole, there lies the potential for optimization. And as I've said previously, that saves just about everything. And it's a well-known fact now that Windows is just a bloated motherfucker of an operating system. And there's so much on there that nobody needs or wants. And this drive towards intentional obsolescence to get you to buy the next new bit of kit is just becoming absurd. Hopefully, Valve doesn't subscribe to that. We can only hope. We can only hope that this new Valve Steam machine, Compsole, is in fact a tool for the job. It will give you enough power to do all those computer type things that you need to do, the main things. And then on the other side of the coin, it allows you to game. And for the purposes of this particular channel, allows you to game in VR. Not just competently, but well. So what cost that kind of performance? As I said, not one thing, not the other. But it still has to conform to the market pressures that all other kit conforms to. And so it's my estimate that the Steam machine will come in between $800 and $900. It should, if it knows what's good for it, come in at $500. You know, do what Henry Ford did. Stack it high, sell it cheap. But the world isn't, as I've said, what it once was, and things have changed. And what of the impending Steam frame? How much will that cost? The VR headset market is a strange thing, and there's not much point in comparing one headset to the other, because even though they're headsets, it really still is like comparing apples to oranges. The headset market is a bit of a circus. They're all trying to achieve the same thing, but they find different ways to do it. It seems to me that the meta for VR headsets has yet to be found. But let's use the PSVR 2 as our benchmark. Sony used its corporate heft to produce a headset and sell it, we assume, at a loss. Its price was, frankly, pretty low for what it was. We were all quite amazed that it managed to do as much as it did for the money. You got a great deal of bang for your buck when it came to the PSVR 2. I've said this recently, and I stand by it. It's still, for the amount of money that it costs, a great headset. And so who did Valve, when it came to the Steam Frame, regard as its competition? Was it something like the PSVR 2 or something like the Meta Quest? Well, it's my belief and my opinion that Valve would have used the PSVR 2 as its benchmark. It falls within the same market bracket that it wants the Steam Frame to occupy, and as such would be its closest competitor, with the Quest versions being a close second. Oh, doubtless the entire market was looked at and what was out there being offered, but Valve's plan is quite clear. They're building a headset for the masses. They want to make VR mainstream, because that's where the success truly lies. But does that mean the Steam Frame has to be priced competitively to sweeten the deal for the masses that I've just talked about? After all, if you want to make VR mainstream, it has to be accessible, and accessibility is reached via the pocket. And so I think the headset will come in at around $700 to $900. If it's anything below $700, that'll be a win. When I gave my original estimate of $1,500 to $2,000 for the suite of kits, the controller, the Steam Machine, and the Steam Frame, I was talking about the kit that was available then, in the world as it was then, and I broadly stand by that. But realistically, the Steam controller, the Steam Machine, and the Steam Frame have to come in at $99, $700, and $500 respectively in order to reach an overall price point which will be acceptable to the majority of people. And it would still come in under my original early estimate of $1,500. The suite would then cost you $1,299. Just about the price of an acceptable gaming PC? Or, and here's the spanner in the works, will Valve regard its kit as enthusiast-level consumer products? If they do decide to go the enthusiast route, then it's my contention that the, as we know, controller has come in at $99, the console will be $999, and the headset will also be $999, bringing it slightly over the $2,000 upper estimate that I originally gave this suite of kit. New tech isn't cheap. And if the stats on paper don't quite tempt you from a performance point of view, then maybe the fact that the Steam Machine and the Steam Frame are tied to the Steam games catalogue is what will actually drive the price. And that will form the biggest part of the value proposition for this kit. Either way, soon enough, we'll know what the thing costs. And I hope, for VR's sake, that it's affordable. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe and share. It really would help the channel. And until next time, bye bye.